What's up, y'all? Erroneous here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm going to be going over everything that's happening for Tuesday, October 14th, so let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, Tuesday the 14th, they're planning to launch a Pogo event, an extra legendary event for Ancient Shards. That's it, right? So if you're really close to your Mercy, you may want to consider pulling your Ancients. However, this is a bit of a bait event if you're trying to go for Leo. I would only recommend pulling your Ancient Shards if you are very close to Mercy. If you're far off like I am about, 61 Ancients pulled since my last Legendary, so it wouldn't make sense for me to pull for a Pogo on Ancients. I do have roughly 100 Ancients saved, but again, I'd probably have to go all 100 most likely, unless I'm really lucky to get that Pogo. So that's kind of cool, but again, you got to be really close. Hopefully, if you do pull, you'll get something nice. Harima, I need a Kymar, I need Feral, I need a Nekmothar. There's a lot of champs that I would love to get that are non-void legendary still, but be very careful if you're going to go for the 1+1. Next up, we do have a 3x for dropping Savage Gear today. We do have a 3x on Friday upcoming on the 17th, 3x for dropping Bannerlord accessories from the Spider's Den. And then Tuesday, they're planning to launch the Hothead Deck of Fate, which is for Raphael. And you'll need to pull Soulstones, as well as getting artifacts and accessories in order to get Raphael. So this is where a lot of people have saved up on their Soulstones. Now, I'm not on my free-to-play account right now. This is my pay-to-win account. I don't really come on this account as often, but I only have 14 Soulstones on this one. So this one would be way out of it. Couldn't even go in the running. But on my free-to-play account, I'm actually playing it on my phone on the side. It's running some Doom Tower battles as we speak. And I do have 174 mortals, 28 immortals, and 4 eternals. So of course, I could most definitely go for Raphael if I want him. But is he strong? That's the question. He is from the Barbarians. So Raphael himself, the man, the myth, the legend, I guess you could say, but not really. He does hit fairly hard, but he has a condition that he needs to meet, which is putting a Berserk on himself in order to hit hard. And this condition can be very difficult to achieve in PvP, especially in live arena. Now, he does have a block revive on the A1, which is pretty strong. For anytime a champion has block revive, that's always going to be strong in general. Doesn't mean it's going to hit that hard though. The hardest hitter, I think, for the block revive is probably going to be a Mezamel, and as well as maybe a Queen Eva. And then I think pretty sure Queen Eva has a block revive on her skill. And then also you could go with a Phoenix who has an A1 double hitter. I'm pretty sure Phoenix hits harder than this guy on his A1 when there's debuffs on the floor, another condition that Phoenix would have to meet, but he's also an epic champion. Now, each hit does fill this champ's turn meter by 10%, which is not bad. Hits one enemy 2 times. Attacks on enemies on the A2. Ignores shield block damage buffs if attacking under a Berserk placed by himself. If this champion is not under a Berserk placed by himself, the damage inflicted against enemies under shield buffs is increased by 50%. So it's annoying that he only ignores shield and block damage if he's under a Berserk placed by himself, which is really frustrating, right? Each critical hit does fill his turn meter by 10%. So it's a 3-turn cooldown if you book him out, 4 turns if not. Okay, fill rate on turn meter. You could get up to a 40% turn meter increase, but keep in mind, you're going to be fighting a lot of green affinity, which is spirit. Since he's red affinity and he's not void, he's not going to guarantee the 40% increased turn meter. And even then, in a fast-paced PvP setting, you're probably not going to get another turn in live arena. The fight might be over after he takes a turn. So this is his skill where he can place Berserk on himself, attacks an enemy 3 times on the Not Today Knucklehead ability, places a Veil buff and Unkillable on this champion for 2 turns only if the target is killed. If the target survives, he does place a Berserk debuff on himself for 2 turns instead, and this debuff cannot be resisted or blocked. Okay, so another interesting condition here where he places Perfect Veil and Unkillable only if he kills somebody, and the Berserk if he doesn't kill somebody. So that's it's kind of contradicting itself as an ability. I personally think that it should be places Perfect Veil, places Unkillable, places Berserk if it kills somebody, period. I don't think he should have so many conditions on these skills because it actually makes him less effective in battle if you're really trying to use him in like PvP, for example. Now, this is where he actually turns the tide of the battle a little bit. Whenever Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, or Raphael attacks, he joins the attack and can block a revive on somebody. So that's strong. Places a Berserk debuff on this champion for 1 turn when any champion dies, which means on the enemy team or the ally team. So you could try to have him go second. But again, go second teams are a lot harder to build, a lot harder to win in PvP still nowadays, but you can win more often, I would say, than in the past because of Stone Skin, right? 20% chance of granting an extra turn when attacking under a Berserk debuff placed by this champion. Personally, I believe that the Berserk debuff here should be allowed to be placed by, say, for example, Odin. If he hits Raphael and places a Berserk on him, he should be able to get all the buffs or positive, basically abilities from this Berserk on his kit, right? I think he should be able to get all the conditions, shield, block damage, the Perfect Veil, Unkillable, if somebody else places a Berserk on him. That's just my personal opinion, and he would be a lot better, but he's still not meta, in my opinion. He's definitely strong, but he's still not meta. Even then, he does have an increased attack in all battles by 30%, but then again, there's so many champions that are attack-based nukers at this point that have attack in all battles. So it's up to you whether or not you want to go for this guy. It does say that during this event, you'll be able to collect champion fragments, 30 fragments hidden under 10 commons, 40 frags under 8 rares, 30 frags under 3 epics. And so essentially, you got to pull for the entire deck of Fate. I don't think I've ever seen someone pull less than 30 and get this, or even less than 35 and get all the fragments of a champion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you've done this where you've pulled for a champion in a deck of Fate and you didn't have to pull more than 35 and you got the champion. That's kind of interesting to me to know. I don't think anybody's ever done it at 35 or less. You can also collect pizza points for Ace the Reporter. So if you're going for the Reporter, you have to go for these, or unless you went for the Granite deck Path event, then you could probably skip these points if you wanted to. So 40 points under Epic, 40 points under Rares, and then 20 points under Common cards. There's no pinned rarity for this, so the previous deck of Fate was a pinned rarity where you could try to get the chests that are epic, which give you the strongest amount of rewards, but this one does not have that. Either way, if you have a solid amount of Soulstones, then you might want to consider doing this. Typically, the Soulstones are Eternal, 4,500 each, Immortals, 900 each, and Mortals are typically 20 each, I believe, or 40 each. I think it's 20, but you would have to pull so many, and I don't even think there's going to be like a 2x for Mortals, more than likely. I don't think they're going to run a 2x on any of the Soulstones alongside it. It doesn't say it, so they're not going to do it, so you're not going to get as much benefit out of pulling your Soulstones. The only benefit is getting the champion himself, which is Raphael. Again, a decent champion. I think he's like a B+ tier, maybe B tier for PvP, at least at this point in time. In the past, he would have been an A tier, solid A tier. I think he's B+ in my opinion, because he's very counterable. He's only probably AA+ if you have another turtle on the team, in my opinion. So if I were to pull all my Mortals, for example, and I'm going to get more Mortals, right? Everybody should get more Mortals over the next few days, because we do have Hydra right here. So we got Hydra, that's going to be done. Actually, it's a day and 14 hours. The event, if it lasts a long time, it lasts for 96 hours for the event. So yeah, so you're going to get at least between 5 and 10 more Mortals just from farming Nightmare and Brutal and Hard of the Hydra clash. So that should be nice for everybody. Make sure you're doing your Hydra battles and you should be able to get some Mortals back here. If I were to do 180 Mortals and multiply that by 20 points each, it's only 3,600 points. But again, or maybe they're 100 points each for the immortals. So 180 times 100, maybe you'll get 18k. They might be 100 points each for immortals. I just don't recall off the top of my head, but if you guys know, leave it in the comments down below. Typically in the past, how much points were immortals in the deck of fate? I just can't recall off the top of my head, but either way, it's a decent event. If you want to get yourself a brand new legendary, definitely go ham and get yourself a Raphael. But keep in mind, it is a bit of a bait event because you're going to want to save, right, your shards and your soul stones for Leo potentially in the future. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and I'll see you on a video soon. Take care.